What's up, guys? I got special guest CJ Wellington from Tactic Performance on today. We'll give him a minute here to get all situated with the live and to get connected here. But CJ is a good buddy of mine and someone who's doing some pretty awesome things with some of the athletes around here. So we'll fill you in once he gets linked up here. Yeah, here we are, Siege in the house. Give it one sec here, and we'll get him on the line. CJ,
Hey,
dude,
hey, do I need to go vertical or horizontal here? What do we got?
go vertical.
Or the laundry?
Yeah, laundry works too.
Laundry's good. One sec here.
If it doesn't let you go vertical, you just gotta turn the phone.
That's what I'm trying to do. I got this little tripod deal, but let's see.
We're in no hurry, man.
What's up, man? How's the weather down there?
Dude, I'm out in Arizona for the week
What?
with Lindsay's fam. Yeah, so I'm
Okay,
on mountain
even
time.
even better.
Yeah,
Let's see. What the heck? Bum, ba-da-bum, bum,
Lindsay
bum.
K in the house.
Oh yeah,
There we go. We're
we
ready. We're
got we
cooking now.
got 5 people. We're in.
Oh man, it's climbing, dude. You're my Stico. I hope
Of
he's staying.
course.
Of course.
He
So
was he
yeah,
was
yeah.
asking me a bunch of questions earlier. Let's see. I'm
There
almost
he
I'm
is.
almost vertical here.
Yeah, you're close enough.
Is that gonna work?
Yeah, as long as we can hear you, man. You're a good-looking
Okay.
dude though too, so
Hey,
better
thanks.
than work, Stico says. So yeah, so to give people a quick summary, and I'll let CJ explain in a little more detail here. But CJ's actually a college buddy of mine. We played football at the U, Carroll University, little school in Wisconsin. But no, so we had a blast playing there, and we have both moved out to Cali since. CJ's bounced around a little bit, but he's doing some really cool things with athletes up in the Bay Area now, and I think even some new things I haven't yet heard. We got a few of
Hey,
the Pio crew in here, T-Hole in there. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, so why don't you just give a quick background? Well, maybe not quick background, but kind of what you were doing before, and then some of these new opportunities that have popped up recently.
Man, I'm trying to get this a little more vertical. Okay,
There we go.
so yeah, I guess what I was doing before, the reason I came out to California originally was after grad school. I had an opportunity to intern and then get hired at a place called Sparta Science, which is in Menlo Park, kind of Palo Alto, San Francisco Bay Area. Um, to be honest, it was my only job offer, so I was like, heck yeah, let's go. I'm
Yeah,
driving out. I'd never been to California in my life, but I thought Northern California would be like sunny and 80, just like Southern California, but it's not. Uh, it's still really nice, very expensive, but we're figuring it out. And
yeah,
let's see, that was like 5 years ago. So I worked there for 2 years and then decided kind of I was going to be the guy. I'm going to go try to do my own thing. But I didn't know exactly what that was going to be. So I had some money saved up from working there and traveled for a little bit. Spain, Portugal. I think I went to Chicago twice. I went to San Diego once, but and then figured out, well, I got to start working again, and started my own business out of a quarterback coach's facility, still in the Bay Area, but he didn't have kind of that strength and conditioning sports performance side of things, and we wanted to try to create kind of a one-stop shop for the quarterbacks in the area. Obviously, a bunch of wide receivers are coming into town or into the facility, so it was kind of a easy way for me to get my foot in the door with a bunch of athletes right away. Um, After about 2 years or a year and a half of that, started going really well, but that family decided to move to Texas.
mm,
So I was out of a facility. Obviously can't afford a facility by myself in the Bay Area. This is just insane prices here. But from there, I was also working along with my business. I was working part-time at a Division II school in the city of San Francisco here. So working with men's and women's basketball and volleyball, and a handful of those basketball players were from Los Angeles, and they're like, "Hey man, why don't you give LA a shot? There's tons of athletes there year round. The weather's better, slightly cheaper, but I mean, kind of not really, depending on where you're at." So I gave Los Angeles 2 summers, two full years, pretty much. I've been a little bit back and forth. I'll probably end up going back there this summer, but so I've had my own business, just traveling and renting space in different facilities, working with primarily pro athletes at this point, mainly basketball. Just kind of putting it together.
Yeah. So, and I want to rewind a little bit. So what, because you helped out with some of the stuff. So way back to the first, kind of that first internship job with Sparta. So they had a lot of assessment stuff that you kind of helped, you at least had a role in some of the development of some of the testing there. Is that right?
Yeah, they have it's basically a training facility and a software company all wrapped up in one. And when I got there, they were definitely up and running, but it wasn't what it is now. And I had kind of a technology support role as well as a coaching role. And I basically found that I liked using their product so much, and it's so reliable, and there's so much data behind it, that eventually I was able to use it within my own business. So that's what I use now for my assessment process of athletes, as well as kind of doing a little bit of consulting here and there.
And that, just, you want to give a brief highlight on what that kind of the assessment you run people through?
Yeah, so it's a force plate assessment. Think of a force plate as a super medical grade fancy scale, and you're doing a jump test on it. There's a balance, right versus left, and there's also a plank or upper body balance, right versus left. And they might be past 1 million trials now on that jump test, so they definitely have the most depth of data out of any product out there. They've been around for over 10 years now, gathering data all around the world, and it's not stopping anytime soon. It's only growing quicker. So there's a lot of good, valid data and things you can come up with as far as programming, and injury risk as well.
Yeah, and CJ put me through this. We won't get into the nitty gritty of my results. They were off the charts, of course, but
it's medical data, man. I can't share it. I can't share it.
Yeah, that's true. But so it's cool, and so you get a score. It's very objective data, I think, and that's something that for coaches, for people that are looking for a trainer, a lot of times, and I don't know if you agree with this, Siege, but we get caught up in a lot of our subjective biases that don't really give us, set data of are we making progress, can be very subjective, and this takes a lot of that out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially me primarily working with athletes, like all they want to do is feel good on the court or the field and not be injured. Because once you make it to the pros, it doesn't really matter how much you squat or deadlift anymore. It's, are you available to play? And if you're not, what's the point? So you're just kind of sitting on the sideline, not making the money you want. You're frustrated. Everybody that depends on you is frustrated. So it's a whole kind of circle of let's not be. Did I lose you?
Yeah, I think we just disconnected for a little bit. We're back on it. So yeah, I lost you. I don't know where the video comes from, but guys being frustrated, sitting on the sidelines, not being able to play.
Yeah, but so just having objective data and system, and the best part about it is once that test's done, about half a second later, they can see the results. So there's no like, look at me kind of cuss. There's no like bullshitting with
Mm-hmm.
somebody. It pops right up on the screen. Here it is, and sometimes they get worse, and you have to be able to explain yourself about what's going on, what we're going to do to fix that, and it's a conversation piece to see what they've been doing. So say maybe a guy has been doing Soul Cycle 3 times a week and he didn't tell you. So that
Mm-hmm.
totally throws off everything you're trying to do. But it's a talking point to them about why this may or may not help them and where they can fit it in a smarter, more efficient way, if that's even something they should be doing.
Do you find yourself having to have those conversations a lot with the guys and girls you're
Yeah, like
working with?
every day. One sec. I think I got you back. Did I got you
Yeah,
back?
we're back. I was saying,
Let
do
me.
you find? Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna try to fire up a hotspot.
Okay.
My internet's a little wonky. Um, yeah, well, so those conversations happen probably every single day.
Okay.
It, it just depends. Like I had a pro basketball guy this summer. He came in to do his assessment, and it was that Soul Cycle thing, and he has worst assessment ever, and that's like it's like a confidence booster to me as well. Like this stuff is working, but when they come in and it's just bad, terrible, it's a problem, you know. So you have to sometimes dig to see what they've been doing, what they've been eating. Maybe they didn't sleep well, so the system's sensitive enough to be able to tell. Kind of, it's not just like a subjective. You know, how'd you sleep? Pretty good, good enough. You know, this is going to show the force that they're producing is either very, very good or very, very bad or the opposite of what we want. So there's kind of a balance of what we're looking for there.
Yeah. In terms of the communication piece of it, is that something that you've had to work on? Is it something you've naturally been good at? Because you have really good relationships with these guys and girls you're working with, and that's not always common in coaching, unfortunately. But is it does the relationship you have with them allow you to more easily have these conversations? A lot of people don't like addressing those things of, hey, this might not be working, and hey, that might also be on me. It might be something else going on, but that might be on the coach of, hey, we might have to change some things here, and that can be a tricky conversation to have. Is that something that's developed as you've strengthened relationships, or something you've directly worked on?
Um, it doesn't happen right away. You're gonna, and it's definitely a case by case basis, but I've never been the kind of like in your face person that's going to be intimidating to somebody. I'm probably a pretty welcoming person when we're just having conversations, and you got to let them know whether it's just a general population client or a high level athlete, like this is all for you. This is to reach your goals. I'm here to kind of guide you through this process. But yeah, it might take a week or two. It might take 4 or 5 sessions for that person, maybe even more than that, to really open up to say, oh yeah, I was doing some stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing, or I haven't been sleeping, and here's why. It doesn't come out the first day. The first time it might just be like, yeah, I just haven't been doing anything, so I thought I was going to have a bad test. Well, okay, here's where we're at, and here's where we want to be, and let's go for it.
And that evolve
Yeah,
over time as you.
it just takes time. Yeah.
Sure. And then and I think it's cool that the coaches that are out there doing it right are the ones that are taking into account sleep and nutrition and stress and other training things and fads that are coming into play.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, big time. What do you see from the physical assessment side of things though? That because you're working with some of the best athletes in the country and traveling in the world, working with some of these guys, what do you see as time and time again, some of the biggest needs from a physical training side that people tend to come see you with?
Tend to come see me. Can you try to? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Yeah. So kind of the biggest, physical limitations, the things that you see yourself working on with these guys and girls time and time again. What are their biggest, from like a needs analysis standpoint of where are they lacking?
Yeah, I would say a lot of the athletes I train don't have a good enough grasp on the basics yet, even though they might be getting paid a good wage to do their sport. Maybe they're so skilled at that one thing that maybe the training side kind of got left behind along the way, but it's kind of evening out that skill and proficiency in the training and movement side of things that would make them even better on the court or field or wherever they play. But just the basics, like standing on one leg and squeezing your glute, like it's really not like groundbreaking stuff that I do, like hinge your hips back and grab the bar and pick it up. I thought you'd maybe be able to do that, but you can't, so we're going to have to do this to fix it. It's the same concepts as if you were going to work with a 12-year-old kid for the first time. He's never been in a weight room in his life. You start there, and then you see where they're at, and you kind of progress as you go.
Yeah, I think you say there's nothing groundbreaking about it, but too many people are trying to find the next coolest, new age type thing that works when we get sick of the basics too quick, or we try and progress people before they're ready for it, and then that creates other problems. But allowing yourself to come back and check some of the data on that to see where they're improving is a cool fallback to be able to have too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm never really doing like a variety of things just for the sake of making the session more fun or just doing different things, because then I'm like you just said, like you don't know if they're actually getting better at what you want them to if you're doing something else. So they might be getting better at ripping ropes around in front of them, but does that help them at all, or is that actually like creating a problem for them in their shoulder or their elbow? It could be. I don't know. So I all that kind of fun and stuff that looks cool on Instagram or social media, I don't really do any of it. Probably why you see on my page, it's just like a guy deadlifting or like running correctly. That's where I'm at right now, so yeah, so stick to the basics and progress it from there. And you can either progress weight or range of motion, and that'll make it harder.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I think it's on us as coaches and therapists or any healthcare practitioners out there that we feel like we have to make it fun, and we feel like we have to make it fun, whether that's for the athlete or for ourselves. But like you said, that can actually get in the way of the results someone's getting if we get too far down that path.
Right. The fun parts when you're done and you feel good and you feel strong and you go do your job and you don't have back pain, or you go on the court and you just crush it. And that's the fun part. The training part's training. It's going to be hard. It's going to kind of suck like a lot of the times. And that just is what it is. That part shouldn't be like a super smiley, fun, happy-go-lucky time. Maybe some jokes here and there in between sets, but that's about it to me.
Yeah, and when you're results driven, especially the guys you're working with, I mean, they're not after fun. They're after results and hitting big goals, and whether that's at the pro level or whether that's high school level, or I mean at any level, that should be keep the main thing, and don't get caught chasing the wrong goal.
Yeah, it's funny that the highest level guys and girls that I work with, I don't have to tell them to redo bad reps. Like, they just stop, they know it sucked, and they go, say it's just a cone hop, they'll go back to the beginning and do it again. I won't have to say anything. I just show them how to do it right, and they know if they didn't do it right, and they'll go do it again. It's crazy to me. And then there's like high school kids who just jump through it and be like, we done? What's next? What? Yeah. But that's just how it is, and that it's not just high school kids. It's college kids. There's some pro athletes out there that'll do it that way, but the highest level people that I've worked with, there's no question about it. I don't have to say anything to them. It's crazy. It's pretty consistently like that.
Yeah, I think in sport and in fitness and business and life, like the ones that fall in love with the process of things are the ones that knowing that, like, being meticulous with how they're doing it, not just, okay, I accomplished the goal, the task of jumping over the cone
Yeah.
or moving this load from here to here. It's really falling in love with the process of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, I kind of want to draw back into some of your journey through and knowing you from college, moving out to Cali, and not staying put in any one place, but for those looking for an example of, one, straight up hustling, moving, like finding a way to make it work wherever you are, but you're one of those people that sort of pulls the trigger and rides the bullet, as we say, of always have it all planned out going into it. And is that because that's hard for people? The people that I see and people that reach out to me for advice from a therapy standpoint, from owning a business, it's so many people waiting for it to be, perfect time to make that jump. And you seem to make 3 jumps and then look back and figure out which one
I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. It's not easy to do per se. I don't think I care about what people think about it at all. Like, I just kind of do what makes me feel good and what feels right. And it's not that you hope it works out. If it doesn't, you just try something else. It's not like you lose. There's nobody's keeping score of like how many times an idea didn't work for you. So why not just keep going for it? Why not keep shooting those bullets out there, I guess, Yeah.
Well, I think it's awesome because I tend to be more of a planner by nature, but what got me started was just starting. I planned all these things out going into it, and had this great idea of what it would look like, and 2 weeks in, it's like, hey, none of this stuff is working. I gotta figure something else out now. But that's just diving into it, how that comes together too.
Yeah, it looks good on paper, and it's like you can do the math of whatever you charge, and well, if I get 12 clients in today, here's what I'll make. But I only scheduled 1 client today, and then they canceled. So what? It's like nothing ever seems to go how it was planned. You just you got to just try things. And like, I've never done an Instagram live. Like, you asked me a couple of days ago, I'm like, sure, I guess. I don't know. The lighting's all messed up. I just go for it,
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And I know this isn't your,
brutal. I hate these things.
Where you crush it, in front of a live video. And I think it's awesome you came on, and that's just a testament though to what you've been doing for the past 5 years, is just making things happen by just doing it and putting yourself in not always the most comfortable situations and growing.
I agreed to teach a college class like a week ago. I'm now a professor, Dave.
I did not know that.
Yeah, dude, it's a night class, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's just like a basic weight training and programming class. You think it'd be easy, but none of the kids in there are athletes or going to be trainers. So it's kind of, you're starting from nothing and you're trying to teach these kids how to create a program. And it's hard to even think of like designing a program that's so basic at this point in what I do. So it's a good learning process for me, but just kind of, the university emailed me at 9:30 at night, asked me if I could teach the next day. And there's no book, there's a syllabus. I've never been on campus before. I'm like, sure, let's do it. So we're making the best of it. It's all good.
That's so cool. You're probably asking the kids in the class like where the classroom is going into it. They're like, "Who is this?
Their
What is
key
this?"
cards weren't working to get in the door or something, and they asked me if I'm like, I don't have a key card. I don't, there's, I have no idea. But we're here. We're good. We're on time. We're gonna make it work.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool with that though is that you'll probably, even though it's such a basic from a curriculum standpoint, from where your knowledge is, you'll probably learn a lot through that experience of different skills and communication styles and finding other ways, cues that work, and teaching
Yeah.
things that work for it. So I mean that's something that it'll be cool looking back and seeing all the things
Yeah.
you picked up from that too.
It's a little awkward 'cause it's not my strong suit, like the public speaking or things like that, even though I coach for a living. But why not? They know way less than I do, so why not just give it a shot? Who cares if my face gets a little red and whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's a great lesson for anyone watching out there though, just putting yourself in those situations, because this was coming from a guy who we had a nutrition, our final nutrition presentation, and CJ would have been fine with me talking he said as little as he had to. He went up there and he's like, I'm gonna introduce myself and I'm gonna let you talk the rest of the time.
Man, yeah. I'm still a little bit like that, not even close to as bad. But
Yeah.
there was one time in high school, like 100 times worse than what our little project was. Like, it was just a speech in English class. I don't even know what it was about, but I was probably 3 or 4 sentences in. I started to stutter. My face was crazy red. And I'm from a small town. I know everybody personally in my class. There's no question about it. I know everybody's name. This is not a big class, but I did not like talking in front of people. I literally just crumpled up my paper and just sat in my chair, and I said, I'm done. You can give me whatever grade you want, and I'm not doing the rest of the speech.
That's awesome.
I'm just done. I'm tapping out. I'm going to stutter through this. I'm not going to make it. So.
Yeah, but that's one knowing what your strengths are, but you also put yourself in situations to improve on some of those and not just sitting out of every one of those situations going forward because you had one bad experience in high school, which I think is the first big piece of that. And then, I mean, the second piece of it is, just knowing that, not waiting to get good at that to get started on something either. If you could easily have been like, hey, I'm not good at getting in front of people, so I'll never be able to start a business. But, and that's obviously not the case. You're, running a successful thing, and despite knowing where those limitations are and pushing through some of those throughout the last 5 years, and longer than that as well. But
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
We're trying.
Yeah. No, you're doing it. Who are some of the people you've, sort of the influencers you've taken the most from? It can be from the training side of things or like business, life, personal development side of things. Who do you learn from, and who's influenced you in your career so far?
I would say one, probably the athletes that I work with. A lot of them, they go through a lot of the same stuff that I've been through as far as injuries, surgeries, just the life of being an athlete, the ups and downs of it. But like when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, that there was no question that on the basketball team here in the city that I was working with, they were like, you got to go to LA. There's no question, but you crush it. And I haven't necessarily been crushing it yet, whatever that means. But just them giving me the confidence to do that. I'd never even been to LA. I'm like, what? So them, I guess influencers and stuff, who do I follow? The guy, his name's Will Hewlett, the quarterback coach. I started my business out of his place in Livermore, California, in the Bay Area here. He's kind of in the same boat as me, where he's just kind of starting from nothing, no clientele. He moved to the area. He had been in Florida before that. Awesome quarterback coach. had a crazy successful business going, but it was better for him and his family to move to Texas. And but he taught me a lot about, building clientele and the business side of things, what to do with a website. Like, these are all things you never even learn. You just kind of figure it out. Like, today's a crazy day and age. You can start a business in a day and have a website, but the hard part's actually having clients and consistent clients and helping people and doing a good job. But yeah, I don't follow that many people. I'll get a little tidbits here and there from people, but nobody that like super consistently are checking in on their page or things like that. I follow a ton of athletes just to try to keep up with what they do and their games and injuries and things like that. Instagram's probably the main way I communicate with athletes, besides the ones I know personally. And even those are probably Instagram still. But yeah, I use social media to like connect with people mainly. Do things like this, I guess, now, and spread the good word,
Yeah, that's great. And that's what the tools are. Getting back to what we talked about even with training and what's the goal of it. It's easy for us to get so lost on social media and just mindlessly scrolling. But that's missing a lot of the potential that can use it as for connecting with the athletes you're working with, athletes that can help teach you something, athletes that you can potential clients, all those things, and using it as a relationship builder. I think is where I don't say a lot of people miss the point, but it's easy to miss what social media is designed for, and that's connecting with other people, doing things like this. This might be your next side business that you you take and run with, right, Steve?
I'm gonna start interviewing people, man.
Yeah. So, So we'll. Anything else you've been working on? Anything else you want to wrap up with before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah. I guess kind of the other side of what I'm doing or trying to do is kind of build like a consulting side of business. It's hard. I see like personal trainers and strength coaches. They have their own business. Maybe they're just busy as heck. Every day, every hour is booked. I don't see that being like the long-term play. Short-term is great. The money's good, but how long can you do that? Like 10, 11 hours a day straight of client to client to client to client. How long does that last? So I'm trying to create like a consulting side of business where I'm able to go to the athlete to see where they're at physically and use the force plate assessment process I have by Sparta and provide any programming needed, but also kind of consult with the strength coaches that they have in whatever city they're in and kind of bridge a gap. So I guess the backstory would be a lot of pro athletes, they have the place where they play. Say they play for the Milwaukee Bucks, but the guy might be from LA. So he spends most of his time in LA, but he has family in Atlanta. So the off season, he's probably not going to be in Milwaukee that much. He's going to spend a lot of time in LA. He's going to go on vacation somewhere, wherever that is, for maybe 3 weeks. And then he's going to be in Atlanta. So he has the Milwaukee Bucks strength coaches. He has whatever trainer he works with in LA. He has an Atlanta trainer. And then he has whatever he does on vacation. So you're probably going to have 4 different methodologies there. And if there's any injury history with this guy or girl, this is just, it's like throwing darts at training. So what I could do is provide an assessment process, whether it's every 2 to 3 weeks if they're training with me, but say on a monthly basis, provide programming and an assessment wherever they're at. So an example would be a sports agency flying me to Green Bay to work with an athlete on the Packers for just a weekend, but just to get some data on him, consult with some of their strength coaches and show what he needs, what they're doing, make any changes, just to get him on the field more, and kind of earn that next big contract. So it helps the athlete, helps me with business, helps the sports agency, and it also helps the team. So it's just like bridging the gap is probably used too much, but bridging the gap and like filling the holes of that year-round training process. So if I get 3 to 4 of those guys and I have 3 to 4 clients on a seasonal basis, I'll have a good business going rather than trying to chase 30 or 40 people around year round, you know?
Mm-hmm. So is this going to be, so you're working directly with the athlete, but the team's typically bringing you in, and then you're working with the athlete and communicating it to whoever is going to be working with him directly, like trainers, strength coaches, etc.
So that's definitely going to be a case-by-case basis. This time, the sports agency's flying me in and paying for the training for the athlete, but we will be working at the team facility, so I'm sure I'll run into and talk to whoever's there, whether it's strength coach, PT, things like that. I'm sure every case will be different with different personalities, things like that, different egos here and there. But you know, if you come in a way that it's like, it's not my way or the highway, here's what I see, here's the data, here's what I've done that's worked in the past. It's just objective. It's not like I'm spewing data at them that doesn't make sense. It's just, here's what's going to help the athlete. If you're not going to do that, I don't know why I don't know why you even do what you do. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, I love talking to you because I feel like every time I talk to you, there's something new going on. It's not like new stuff from a sense, and where people can get this mixed up a little bit. It's not new from, you know, jumping from thing to thing that doesn't support each other. It's not like you're opening a burger restaurant in LA and then training people and then
that'd be sweet.
You know,
yeah.
mowing lawns too. But you know, all these things, they're different opportunities, but they're also ones that, you know, they're all pushing towards this general goal and vision that you have. And through those things, you're probably making new relationships and figuring out new ideas in different ways that can work. And I just think it's awesome.
We're trying. We're trying to put it together, you know. And these aren't. When I started this business, I would have never thought that I would get flown to an athlete in a different state to work with them for 3 days. Like, never. Mm-hmm. But now I am in 2 weeks, and hopefully that can build up, because then I don't have to depend on the in-person athletes as much. So, you know, it just can be an easier training process for them, more relaxing, but also I can help people from afar without kind of the classic online programming. I could program for them the same exact way I would if they were in person, because I actually get to see them on a monthly basis, and I know the form and things that they're doing with the lifts.
It's hard to replace the the in-person assessment for one, but the in-person touch communication for someone you haven't met before, to work with that person, you can tell a lot, even if it is a day or 2 days or 3 days with someone. Like, that's a lot of feedback you can get of how they're coached, how they're, you know, what kind of cues work for them, how their little subtleties and movement and all sorts of things that you can't necessarily pick up online.
Yeah, right.
And you say you're just trying to figure it out, and I love what you said earlier, though, of I can't remember how you worded it, but we'll probably never quite figure it all out. Or when you said something about when you make it, or when you're crushing it, whatever that means. It's so true, though. We're always finding new challenges and new things to occupy us.
Yeah, I mean, I hope in a couple of weeks that all of a sudden all these athletes come out of the woodwork and I'm so busy, you know, then I'll have more problems. I'll have to say no to some things, you know. I won't be able to teach a night class. You know, I don't know what the heck will happen. So
yeah,
we'll see. You just got to keep putting wood on the fire, I guess, and making it work.
Yeah, I love it, Siege. Well, anyone's watching live, if you have any questions, you can feel free to throw them down now. Otherwise, Siege, why don't you just let us know kind of best place to find you, where to follow you at? Is Instagram the spot for you?
Instagram's probably the most active. It's just at Coach Siege. I also have a Twitter, but don't do much on there. That's also at Coach Siege. But my website is tacticperformance.com.
Cool. And Coach Siege, Ceej.
Double E, Siege.
Double E with the J. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on short notice too. I had another guest. Fell through at the last minute, so Siege is the
I'm filling in.
The clutch man, clutch man to come in and take it over. So
of course,
it's been fun. Yeah, if you guys have anything, make sure to share this with someone. Reach out to CJ with any specific athletic questions, or whether you're trainers or athletes looking for a little more specific advice. He's the guy to check out. So hit him up, Siege. You're the man.
Yeah, let's do this again. I'll figure out all the lighting, and I'll get this thing straightened out, and the next one will be better.
I think it's a good good reflection of how you work, though. I think that's the cool part is it's not perfect, but it's more than getting the job done.
We're trying, as always.
So I'll post this up after for anyone that wants to catch a replay. Share it with someone who needs to see it. It'll be up for 24 hours, and then I'll have it up on YouTube as well. So, CJ, I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Cool, man. Talk soon.
All right, later.
Bye.